Welcome back to the Dinero Twins podcast, where we talk about all things money and business. Hey, twin.
Hi, twin. How's it going over there?
How's it going? Okay, I feel marvelous. Okay, it's such nice weather. It's not that cold, but it's, the sun is out, so it makes me happy.
Yeah, same here, same here. It's like we got to enjoy every little bit of sun we get before it starts to get gloomy. Yes.
Oh, so I'm super excited for today's topic because we're going to be talking about 5 tips for first-time home buyers. Okay.
Yes.
You're looking to purchase a home in the near future, or you're currently in the process to do so, you definitely want to make sure that you tune in and make sure you subscribe and listen to our previous podcast, because we are always sharing some gems with you guys. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Today, this topic is very near and dear to my heart because this is what I do on a full-time basis, is teach people how to get their first rental or their first home so they can stop giving their money away to landlords. That's my goal. So yes. So we're going to talk about 5 tips today. Definitely a really good conversation. And then at the end, stick to the very end because we're going to share with you some resources that I'll be having in the near future if you are looking to buy your first home. Yay. So let's jump right into it.
Yes. So why don't we start with the first tip, twin? Okay. And the first tip, I always say this: before you can get to where you want to go, you need to first identify where you are. And especially in, purchasing, because purchasing a home is a really big purchase. Okay. It's not like going to the store and picking out a shirt, to the next party. This is a really important and a huge responsibility. So you want to make sure that your finances are in order. Okay. So the first tip that we want to give you guys is financial audit. Okay. And yes. A financial audit is essentially kind of like budgeting. Where is it that your money is going? What is the household income, whether you're going to be purchasing this home on your own or you're going to be partnering up with a spouse. You want to identify what's the household income, what's the cash flow coming in, what's the money coming out, right? And what budget you want to set in place for the mortgage. Okay. My rule of thumb is you want your mortgage to be 25% of your income. Okay. That's the budget that you should set aside. Again, whether you're doing it alone or with a spouse, budget for 25% of your income should go towards the mortgage.
Yes, that's very important because, again, and this clarifies 25% of your net income, your take-home pay, right? Because yes. I think a lot of us feel like, our gross income is this number. I'm making, $80,000, $100,000 a year. But really, you got to think about what you bring home because you got to pay Uncle Sam first. So, if that 25% number is such a safe number, and I know that banks usually use a different formula, they try to use like a 40 to 48% when they calculate how much you can afford. But honestly, you really have to be realistic because there's going to be other expenses that are going to pop up that you're going to need to make. Things like utility bills are going to go up, things like home insurance, anything that might break that you're going to have to save for every month, because now the entire responsibility is going to be on you when you own a piece of property. So yes, a financial audit is definitely the very, very first step. It's not so much about making the decision, or I want to own a home, is where am I financially today? And does that level of financial readiness, is it okay right now for me to get into a property? Or do I have to wait till certain things are in line before you jump in? So financial audit is super, super important. Yes.
Super important. Yes. And of course, it helps you, again, and don't get discouraged, like if you're looking at your finances and you see that you're not there, don't let that discourage you, because it's like, at least you have an idea of where to start, and I would always say, work with someone, a financial professional, a coach like myself,
like Lisa,
that can help you identify, okay, where I'm at, where do I need to go? Because a lot of people, they don't even know where to start, right? It's like, wow, this topic is new to me. It's overwhelming. It can be a lot. So you want the help of someone else that can come in and look at your finances, in a different perspective and say, okay, well, this is where you're at. This is what we need to do to get you ready for your first home.
Yes, preparation is key for sure. Preparation starts way before the action takes place. So you have to like really start getting prepared and not feel intimidated, not feel embarrassed because you're not there yet. That's okay. You know, a lot of us weren't there yet, right? We just had to start cleaning stuff up. So that's the whole point of having this conversation. So that's gonna,
Exactly.
yeah. So that's gonna throw us right into tip number 2, which is credit wellness. Super important, right?
They're very, very important. I mean, are there ways that people can go around this, Rosalind?
For credit wellness, never. No, because the bank is going to use your credit no matter what. You know, the bank is going to, they're not going to lend you money unless they understand your credit situation. So your credit score, what's on the credit report, what are your paying habits like? So if you are not paying your bills on time, the bank is going to be like, why would you pay your mortgage on time? You know, it determines what kind of customer you are. So, you know, and we've all been there where we've had, you know, stuff on our credit report that we're like not proud of. It happens, right? And it's directly tied to not having the information as we get into adulthood, which we know. But at the same time, you know, once you get to the point where you want to understand your credit report, then it's just a matter of figuring out how to do it better, right? How to pay things on time, how to get things removed. You know, if you can't do it on your own, hiring a service to do it for you. So yeah, there's no way around it, honestly. The only way I would say is if you have cash. If you want to buy a property cash, you can, but even so, you know, insurance companies are even running credit reports right now, right? Utility companies are running your credit.
That is so true. I mean, look at it. We live in a society where credit is king. We say cash is king, but in reality,
Yeah,
credit is king. If you don't have credit, you will pretty much be overly paying for everything. You'll be overly paying for credit cards, overly paying for cars, overly paying
yeah,
for a mortgage. So you want to make sure that your credit is, on point. And also that I want to also add that you want to take a look at what creates your credit profile, okay? Because your credit profile has different factors into it. The two biggest things that make up your credit profile is your payment history, which is 35% of your credit is your payment history. So you want to make sure that you don't miss
right,
payment, because you missing one payment can literally hurt your credit by a couple points. The second highest one is how many accounts you own. Okay, how many accounts you own. So again, the more accounts you own, or the longer the history that you had with them, the better that helps you,
right.
because they seeing that you can manage different types of credit. Okay, because that's also key. You want to have different
Mhm.
types of credit. You want to have them for a longer period of time, but at the same time that you're responsible with every single line of credit that you have. So those make up the two biggest things. Then we have the 10% of new credit, 15% of the credit history, and then the other 10% of the credit mix. But the two biggest ones is
Mhm.
35% payment history and 30% of accounts owned. All right. So keep
Yes.
in mind. I also want to add something, Rosalind.
Mhm.
I do have in my link. I'm gonna see if I can add that to the description. I do
Yes.
have it's kind of like a PDF. It's like 8 steps to increase your credit pretty quickly.
Love it.
Guys want to go ahead, it's a free downloadable PDF. So you guys can go to the link that I'm going to add to the description. If you're listening to this, is www.lisarecamposano.com/biz/. Okay, that's the
Okay.
website for it. And then you click on the only thing that says credit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's necessary. You know, I always tell people you got to take ownership of every single step of this. You know, it's not just about, I want to buy a house. That's not enough. That's the easy step, right? It's like determining that you want to buy one. But everything else, all the components have to come together to give you the very best situation, the very best type of loan, the very best type of interest. So, you know, it's going to cost you money in the long run if you don't make all the steps that you need to take. So credit is definitely a big one. It's a huge one. It's probably the most important one, right?
Exactly, because without this,
Yes.
you can have it. You can have your finances in order. You can have, the well, you won't be able to get the pre-approval
The
without the.
money, you can have a bag of cash and still someone's going to have to run your credit no matter
Yeah,
what. Yes, for
Exactly.
sure. Okay, so that brings me to my third one is being knowledgeable of down payment assistance programs. So
Mm,
this doesn't get talked a lot. It doesn't get talked about enough. But there are so many programs and organizations out there trying to help first-time home buyers get their money ready, right? Because it's very tough right now, especially when things are getting so expensive, to save a 3.5% for your down payment if you're a first-time home buyer, to save another 2% for your closing costs, to pay for your legal fees, to pay for your appraisal, to pay for your home inspection. All of those things add up. So the biggest hurdle that people have when they have their savings and they have their credit put together is coming up with the money, coming up with the funds. So I know of one that's been used by a lot of my coaching students, and they've used this successfully. So Bank of America, no plug, no, this is not a paid promo, but Bank of America has a really good down payment assistance program where they give you up to $10,000 for your down payment, and they
wow.
give you another $7,000 towards your closing cost. And they have a list of the states where this program is good for. So it's like 30 something states you can purchase your first home in and use their first time home buyer program. And
Wow.
that's just one of many. There's like hundreds of programs out there. So get knowledgeable in those, because again, while it might take you a year, 2 years to save all this money, you can join one of these programs and they might be able to fast track it for you because they're going to give you that extra assistance, right? So at least I know that there's another program you are well versed in, right?
Yes, that program is called NACA. Okay, so it's the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. This
Yes.
program is also a really great program for first-time home buyers. Again, they also their is per state, so you want to make sure that that your state qualifies for this program. But this program essentially it's a program that you get enrolled in. You have to, pretty much take a couple trainings. They
Mm-hmm.
sit you down with a financial professional. I think you have even quarterly meetings. So the program itself can take up to a year. But the
Yeah.
purpose is that, they see that you're responsible. They see that, they help you build your finances, your credit, and then they get you the assistance that you need for this home. And I feel like that's something that, a year goes by like this. So if you're
Quick.
thinking about, wow, that takes so long, you understand? But it's like, either way, you probably would have to take some time to save the money, on your own.
Right.
And unless you're a trust fund baby, or your parents already have that money set aside for you, that's a different conversation, which is, I'm not looking down upon that. I think that's great, that parents can help in that way. Yeah, but if you don't have anybody else to depend on, then you want to
Mhm.
make sure that whether you're saving the money yourself, or, Bank of America, like Twin said, or the NACA program can also be another resource. We are aware that there's more programs out there, but we just want to share about the two
Yeah.
that we know more about.
Exactly. Yeah. This is just, two out of many. So again, try and get knowledgeable on what programs you can better, benefit from in your area. Every state has statewide programs as well. So I know we have listeners from every state, just do a simple Google search, be like down payment assistance programs in Florida, in Texas, in the Carolinas, in Georgia. There are programs by state. So we'll list a few down in the description as well, in the YouTube channel for those of you watching. We'll list some in the description as a quick reference tool.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be number 3. And then number 4, we want to get into the pre-approval process.
This is exciting.
Pre-approval, guys, like you cannot go shopping to the mall when you leave your wallet at home, right?
Exactly.
You can't go shopping unless you know how much money you have. So
I
stop
love
going shopping without having a pre-approval, It happens so often. Like I cannot tell you how many times I've told my coaching students, like, guys, what do you mean you're gonna go see a home this weekend? Do you have a pre-approval? No? Don't waste the realtor's time. You don't even
And
know
don't
what
waste
you're,
your
and
time.
don't waste your time.
I get it. You want to shop around. Listen, you can shop around online, okay? But
Right.
it's showing up to a open house. Like, you have to keep in mind, like, realtors, they're professionals. They take their time out with this thing. Everybody that comes in, they want to make sure that they're qualified buyers, because time is valuable, they don't want to waste their time. You don't want to waste your time, so just make sure that you have that pre-approval letter before you actually go to an open house.
Right. Yeah. And not just that, but then I think that emotionally, like it gives them a lot of hope, right? They go see these properties. They're like, oh, I could buy this. I could see myself here. Then it's like, wait a minute, that house costs 500,000. You barely qualify for 300. It's not going to happen. It's not
Yes.
numerically not possible. So
Mhm.
this is why you have to have a pre-approval. If you need assistance with getting a preferred lender, I have a huge network of lenders. Feel free to send me a message to our email that's down below. But yes, you got to have a pre-approval, guys. Like, this is essential. For real, for real.
It is. I mean, don't do it to yourself, like let's not go out and look at $1 million homes. But and it's not that, because of course you won't know until you get pre-approved. But if you know that you're looking at your finances, and we're looking at our budget, and we know we can't afford that $1 million home, why are we doing that to ourselves? I know
Right.
big, and there's nothing wrong with that, because of course we want people to dream big, but this is your first purchase. You want to make sure that you do the right steps to get you to where you want to be.
Yes, absolutely. So super important. Number 4, get your pre-approval, guys. Get your pre-approval. The last one is finding your suitable home. So let's say now you have your pre-approval, you have your magic number that the bank is like, you know what, Lisa, this is your number. You can buy up to that number. So here's your document. Go ahead, start searching. Now you have to determine what size of home, because now you have a number, right? So it's not the size of home you wanted in your head. Now it's like, what can I get? What I can afford in the location I want to be in, and I have to start looking. And I always tell people, your first home should not be your forever home, right? What you need now might not be what you need 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. A large percentage of society, they'll buy their first home, and within the first 10 years, they've sold it, or they've rented it out to a tenant, or they just don't live in it anymore because they've already either outgrown the house, outgrown the location, they've moved to a different state, or they can't afford it because now their financial situation is different. So your first home is not your forever home. It should be the home that fits you at this very moment, right? Short term, year 1 to year 3 kind of thing. It's more to get you out of that renting mode, right? Out of that paying your landlord, paying a rent that's going to go up every year, and then you're not getting appreciation, you're not getting a tax write-off. You're literally just dishing your money away and not seeing anything come back to you. So that should be the purpose, right? Let me put my money somewhere that I can at least own something and cash something out in the event that I need to relocate or sell or whatever else.
Yes, and I also want to add that the reason why we mention these steps is because we essentially want to get you prepared to own multiple homes, not just one. So when Twin is saying, your first home is not your forever home, it's because we're not thinking that that's going to be the only home that you're going to own. Hopefully, if you stay tuned and take a look at the resources that that we have to offer, you can see that if you position yourself correctly, you can have multiple homes and have this cash flow portfolio, right? This generational wealth, this legacy that you could pass on real estate. You can use real estate to supplement your retirement in the later years. We want you to start thinking that way. And of course, I know it's going to take some time for people to adjust, because it's like when you're looking for a home, you want it to be perfect. You want marble, you want, heated floors, about all these things, which is not bad, but we want you to start small and then work your way up. Okay. Or start thinking about, oh, maybe I want my first home to be a rental property. Okay. I love rental properties. Okay. I was telling you before we started that I don't own any rental homes in the US, but I have a rental property in DR. Okay. And I know that my first, I'm thinking within a year, praise the Lord, I should have a rental property here in the States, and it's going to be, you know, a duplex, a three family. And then of course, because I'm thinking about cash flow, I'm thinking about ways that this home can pay for itself, but put some more money in my pocket.
Absolutely. That's the way to think. That's how you do it. Because again, it's passive income. It's not passive to the point that you're not doing any work, but there could be months where I have months where I don't hear from my tenants. You know, there's like no phone call, no text. It's just the money's going in the bank. So it is passive, right? Because I don't have to sit anywhere and work for that income. I've already put in the work ahead of time. So you put the work ahead of time in building that strategy and planning and, you know, realigning your thought process where, you know, before we all grew up on buy your first home, you know, how you have to have a big yard and a nice basement and a nice, and it has to be spacious and stainless steel and all of that good stuff. But, you know, the thought process should really be buy what you can afford, but hopefully buy something that can generate you income, because that's going to help you get ahead. So yes, definitely pick the right home. It doesn't have to be your forever home. Be very flexible with how you do this the first time around, because again, you can enjoy so many benefits as a first-time homeowner using these programs, right? Using your FHA, which is 3.5% down. If you buy the right type of home as your first home, let's say it's a 3-family or 2-family, you know, it's going to put you in a much better position than you using that program for just a single rent, you know, single home that you live in, that you have to spend money on.
That's so true, because also let's say the home that you're buying is a multifamily and it's already rented, they will calculate a percentage of that towards, and it will increase your income on paper. So
Yes,
that would help you, of course, get, you know, more money in your pocket, but at the same time, even be able to really fully qualify for this home. So it looks good. It looks good.
yeah, absolutely.
And I want to also add something, and then we can pretty much continue. But I want to also add that some people, when they purchase a home, you know, you may be single, and you probably, you know, or you're newlyweds or whatever the case is. But the thing is that when you purchase your first home, your situation is it's not permanent, it's temporary, right? You may be expanding, you may be getting married, or whatever the case is, or maybe you were a
Mhm.
family of four, but you know, you wasn't planning, now there's a new baby coming, you know, but there's not enough space in the house. So there's
Yeah,
things that happen, and when we talk about be flexible, it's like don't get too emotionally attached to that home, okay?
right.
Because again, in 5, 10 years, that may not be the same home that you're living in.
Exactly. Yeah. The emotion piece of it is really hard to tell people, like to train them to not
Yeah, I can
think,
imagine.
because people, you know, again, we all grew up with the whole like build memories, you know, but be in your house for 30 years, like all that stuff sounds great, fairy tale great. But in reality, to build wealth, that's not the way you do it. It's not the formula at all, you know? So be flexible. You guys have to be really open-minded to the process for sure, because it is a very good way to build wealth. It's not just something that I'm saying. It's reality. A lot of families are doing
As
it.
well as when you're right, you're also like you're a homeowner, you're a, you know, a landlord investor, you know. Can you share a little bit about your experience as well?
Yeah, yeah, of course. So when I bought my first home, it was a 2-family home with a basement. I was single. It was just myself and my 3-year-old. She's now 14, but it was just me and her. Like I wasn't married, you know, I was dating my husband back then, but we were just dating. So I didn't let that stop me. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna wait till I get married to buy a house. So I'm gonna wait till I have a, you know, spousal support help to help me buy a house. I was like, no, I'm ready. I need to get into something because I'm paying all this money in rent. So I moved into the basement of my home, literally. It was a fixed basement. It wasn't terrible, but her and I lived down there while I fixed the other 2 units to get them rented out, you know, and
Nice.
it took a year and a half to have that stable income for both units. But then I was able to save money. I was living rent free all that time, putting the money back into the property, increasing its value, and then pulling some of that money out to reinvest it into other real estate. So, you know, I didn't get there by accident. Like I wasn't like, oh, let me just try this. Like I knew that would be the formula to get me to a certain level. But I had to make the sacrifice, right? A lot of people were like, why are you sleeping in the basement? Oh my gosh, she needs her own room. I'm like, we're never home. Like, I'm at work, she's at school and daycare, and we're only home on the weekends, but I'm really not at home because I'm at Home Depot the whole time, like picking out floors, So it's really about making the sacrifice. So I tell people, I'm not telling you to go live in the basement with your 3-year-old, but if that's what you got to do for a year to get to the bigger goal, like just do it. Like you said,
Hello.
the year goes by quick. It goes
Yep.
by so quick. And I think a lot of people are afraid of making those kind of sacrifices. They just don't want to bend,
Yeah. And I think because it's like, again, we feel like, we deserve to live a certain way. And it's not, and we're not saying that you shouldn't, but what we're
Yeah.
saying is that a temporary sacrifice for a permanent investment that will generate you thousands, potentially millions. I mean, hello,
Right.
so it's like that temporary sacrifice would allow you to, just have a different lifestyle. Then now you'll be in a better position to even afford the lifestyle that you really want, so
Exactly.
that's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. But Twin, let's say
Yeah.
somebody's watching this, they want to get started, they just have no idea, where to start. What resources do you have for them?
Yeah, so I have a couple of programs coming up. I have one, which is a first-time homebuyer masterclass that's going to go live on the website on urbanteachnyc.com this week. And it's going to be a 90-minute masterclass. It's going to be pre-recorded, so you can watch it at any time. You're going to have full access to the class. But the most important thing I'm adding to the class is a downloadable planner, because I want people to actually take action. Like, I don't want people to just take the class and read it and watch it and hear it, but I want you to have something that you can print, that you can say, you know what, this is my financial situation right now. This is how much money I need to save every month between now and my target date. These are the steps I need to take regularly. These are the things I got to give up to get me there. Like, I want you to have a real plan. So it's going to include a downloadable e-planner, which I think, I spend a lot of time creating, but I think it's going to help people really get the plan in order and get them to take action, on a consistent basis to get there.
Wow.
So yes.
So powerful.
Very excited.
Look at the description. Okay. Make sure that you're, if you're listening to this, but even more of a reason to head over to our YouTube, subscribe, and make sure that you're not missing out on any of the resources. Okay. So go ahead and make sure that you're one of the first ones to register for this masterclass, because if you're looking for 2022 to be a different year for you, we want to start with the foundation. We want to make sure that our investors, we're putting our money to work for us, so we're not always working for our money. Okay.
Yes.
So guys, for tuning in. I hope you guys walked away with so much value. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, because every single Wednesday we're dropping some gems.
Absolutely, guys. Don't forget, every Wednesday, subscribe below.
Yes.
All right, Twin.
Bye, Twin.
Hasta luego, Twin.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found great value in the content shared. Make sure to tune in again every Wednesday, and to also share our podcast link with anyone who can benefit from the information. Till next time, adios.